Thanks very much, David. Actually, the hall was so full that there was a whole pile of delegates gathered round here. Quite a few of them are still there watching the coverage on our monitors and listening to Nicola Sturgeon's speech there. But one who's stuck with it throughout, Campbell Gunn, is with me now. Campbell, thanks very much for staying there. What did you make of the speech?
She pressed all the right buttons. She did all her... She went across the policies, Trident. The delegates loved that before going into her own field of health. And 2 or 3 things that had been pretty well trailed. We didn't know about extending the protection for NHS staff, but that's an announcement you can make, and it doesn't cost anything, and is welcomed by everyone. And the quite good teasing, quite clever teasing of Labour hit the ground moaning. It's a good, it's a gag, but it was a good gag. It was a good one. I mean, and she's actually quite right. Those of us who are covering Parliament all the time we can understand that. They have been moaning rather a lot and not been all that positive in response to what the SNP have been doing, understandably, but they really have to change their attitude a wee bit, Labour. How about the substance of the announcements? As you said, prescription charges, waiting times, was there enough substance there to keep the party faithful happy, so to speak, in her remit? I mean, that was her own health remit rather than Deputy FM remit. Absolutely. I mean, I think abolishing the prescription charges will be popular. It's all right. Again, I don't... This is putting the ball very much in Labour's court. Do they oppose this? They've already supported it in Wales. She held up the example of an Iron Bevan to them. They won't like that. They won't like quoting Iron Bevan. David Porter has raced down from his commentary position all of, 300-400 yards away. Thanks very much, David, for joining us.
I think I might need medical help after that.
The speech from Nicola Sturgeon stressing the not picking fights but standing up for Scotland. What do you make of that?
I think it was very interesting. It was saying, at the end of the day, we are going to stick up for the people of Scotland. That is what we are there to do. We are the Scottish government. We're not deliberately going to pick fights, but if there are fights, we're not going to shy away from them. What was different with this speech was, what is different with all the speeches we've had this time is, now they are in government, they can make announcements, they can make commitments. They're no longer just saying we would like to do X, Y and Z. They can make announcements and they are going to be held accountable. It
always reminds me a little bit of the, we don't want to fight, but by jingo if we do. What is it? We've got the men, we've got the guns, we've got the money too. I mean, it's a little, in other words, it's not us that's picking the fight, but, hey, we'll give it loudly if necessary.
Yeah, I think if necessary, they are up for it. And I think they're feeling pretty confident. The fights and the issues they have chosen to have disagreements with Westminster on so far, they've done pretty well on. I think there are many people in Westminster, just to pick one issue, the foot and mouth, the compensation for the farmers. With hindsight, I think there are a lot of people in Westminster who said, I wish DEFRA had given Scotland that £8 million.
Yeah, that was a bit more foot in mouth than foot and mouth.
That was another example of what I was saying earlier about Holyrood not having to pick fights with Westminster. Westminster have been doing it for themselves.
What do we expect? We had Nicola Sturgeon, the Deputy, today. We've got the number one guy tomorrow, the First Minister. What do you expect from him, Campbell, Gunn?
Well, I think he's talking about three steps to, perhaps not independence, but 3 steps to
heaven, no?
To the referendum.
I thought you were going to sing for a second. Yeah, I'm a singer as well. You should be singing. Sorry, I interrupted you.
He's going to call it direction, delivery and aspiration. Direction is what they've done already, laying out which direction they're going in. The next step is delivery of those things, and finally aspiration, moving on from that again.
Aspiration, David, presumably being code word for independence.
Yes, I think he will reaffirm tomorrow that he would like to see the independence referendum in, say, 2010. I think there will be a specific commitment to that. What I think is also interesting as well, the real politic is going to come in. He will mention that there is a budget in a couple of weeks' time, and he will say, in his words, basically, because Westminster has not given the money that Scotland and the Scottish government thinks it should get, we perhaps won't be able to do everything we would like to. A little bit of expectations perhaps being lowered ahead of the budget, and then who knows, perhaps if they can promise more than they've been letting on, that will make it look a little bit better. But already we are starting to see the argument. Westminster is not giving Scotland the money it deserves. Therefore, that means it's all going to be very tight.
Is that preparing the ground for the excuses? Is that getting the excuses in first?
It is preparing the ground. You're right. What I think might happen is, and speaking to people here, they say, of course, it is a lot tighter when you're not getting the money that you want. There is still fat to be cut. We will do all we can. But who knows, perhaps they will deliver a little bit more than they're letting on, and then we will all think that they've done a marvellous job.
I think there may be some rabbits from the hat when John Swinney makes this statement. I've no idea what they might be, but they've been tucking it down so much and lowering the expectations. I think there may well be some surprises.
Well, we had a big furry rabbit wandering about the hall earlier on. Maybe that was a hare. Was it a hare?
I said a rabbit, and I'm told it was a hare.
What was it all about?
It was the animal rights people. It was
right.
hare coursing.
Oh, well, I thought it was a rabbit, so there you go. That shows what I know.